Hey everyone, as you know, I joined the world of Ubiquiti last year, but I've only recently migrated from ASUS to Ubiquiti access points, and I looked at many different products, but the UniFi access points that I ultimately chose to be my first home access points were two Express 7s. Also known as the UX7, the Express 7 is technically a cloud gateway, but they can be used as access points as well. So the question is, are two Express 7s acting as access points? Are they sufficient enough to provide good Wi-Fi throughout our three-story home? Let's find out. I love the form factor of the Express 7 as it's small, light, and will sit easily on a table or shelf. Despite its small form factor, it boasts 2.5 gigabit Ethernet and 10 gigabit Ethernet ports and can support over 300 simultaneous users. There are three 2x2 omnidirectional antennas inside, which cover the 2.4 GHz, 5 GHz, and 6 GHz bands. Ubiquiti claims that one Express 7 offers coverage up to 160 square meters, which is 1,750 square feet. My package included an EU power adapter, though a UK power adapter was also provided separately by the seller. The box also contains some documentation, a short UniFi Ether lighting patch cable, and a small power brick that has a Type-C output and a rated output of 25 watts. Of course, you can use your own Type-C cable if you prefer. The Express 7 itself looks great. It has a nice information display at the front, which shows network traffic information such as connected clients and current upload and download traffic. Whilst at the back, you'll find the reset button, the USB-C power input, the 2.5 gigabit Ethernet LAN port, and the 10 gigabit Ethernet WAN port. The UniFi app will automatically detect the Express 7 when it is powered on and connected to your network, and you will be asked whether you want to set up a new system or add to an existing system, which is the option that I selected as I am using the Express 7 solely as an access point. And whilst it is a WAN port, you'll be glad to hear that I was able to connect the Express 7 to my local network using the 10 gigabit Ethernet port. Before I set up both Express 7s in my house, I wanted to test the performance of one Express 7 on its own to get an idea of how good coverage is. So I initially positioned an Express 7 on my main office desk, which resides on the second floor of our house. On my iPhone 17 Pro Max, Ubiquiti's Wi-Fi Man app showed my phone's Wi-Fi 7 connection to the access point at around 2,400 megabits per second when I'm sitting close to the Express 7. This connection is obviously limited by my iPhone and not the access point itself. When I then removed the Ethernet connection from my Mac Studio and connected to the Express 7 using Wi-Fi 6E, I consistently saw connection speeds to my Synology NAS over 1.5 gigabits per second using the iPerth bandwidth test. As for internet connection speeds, with my Vodafone 900 megabits per second internet connection, I can get speeds over 900 megabits per second download on my iPhone 17 Pro Max across the whole second floor. One floor down, the speed drops to around 150 megabits per second download, and two floors down on the ground floor, it dropped a little more. This shows that whilst the speed does drop quite a lot as you go one or two floors down, I am still getting a usable connection across the whole house with the access point positioned at the top floor, which really impresses me for such a small access point. I later deployed the second Express 7 in our ground floor living room. This worked incredibly well, and I later found, through more testing, that I got slightly better coverage across our whole house by placing one Express 7 on the ground floor and one in the first floor. Using this setup, I am still able to get between 400 and 600 megabits per second download and upload on our second floor. On the first floor, where one Express 7 is positioned, I see download speeds over 900 megabits per second and upload speeds over 700 megabits per second. And I see similar speeds in the ground floor living room where the other Express 7 is located. At the other side of the ground floor is the door to the garage. And when I stand there with my phone, I'm still seeing download and upload speeds of around 400 megabits per second. Our garage has thick brick walls, and the first part of the garage has been transformed into a utility room with a washing machine and a freezer. And you may be aware that fridges and freezers can cause problems with Wi-Fi connections due to electromagnetic interference. But in the utility room, I am still able to get over 150 megabits per second download and over 100 megabits per second upload. Unfortunately, as I go through into the main part of the garage, my Wi-Fi connection drops and my iPhone reverts to a 4G connection. So I've been using these two Express 7 access points as our main Wi-Fi connection for about 3 weeks now. And I've got a really good understanding of them because I put them into lots of different positions to test, where was the best position to put them. And I've also activated one and deactivated the other to see what the strength was like from just using one. And overall, I'm really happy with the coverage. I'm really happy with the speeds that I'm getting over all 3 floors. And I'm just delighted with the purchase. The Express 7 retails around the 200 mark. So $200, €200, and here in the UK it's about £190. And I think that's a good price. But obviously there's a lot of UniFi access points out there, and that price is about the same price as the U7 Pro or even the U7 Pro XG. And I think from a performance point of view, you might get faster speeds from those other access points. I'm not sure how well those penetrate walls or go in different directions, because obviously the Express 7 is omnidirectional, but that's not something I explored myself. I really wasn't keen on my first access points being the satellite disc style, because I didn't want to drill holes and then find that the best position was somewhere else in the house and I had to drill more holes. I just like the form factor of the Express 7. I like the fact that I don't have to buy a PoE adapter or a PoE switch. It's just USB Type-C for power, and that is provided. And it's very easy for me at any point to move the Express 7 to a different shelf or a different table, different desk, etc. It's very easy to move around. They're really small access points, but you really have to do your research and figure out which one is good for you. Now, I did do a lot of research into the Express 7 access points or cloud gateways before I bought them, and a lot of people recommended them. A lot of people did not. What I will say about that is I think you have to be realistic about your expectations when you're buying any access point. Now, for me, one thing to bear in mind is that my Express 7s have wired backhaul. They're wired all the way back to my router, to my main network. So I didn't have to worry about, losing performance over a mesh connection or anything like that. So I'm quite fortunate. But I do think you have to be realistic, because I saw a lot of people making complaints like, oh, it doesn't cover my 2,000 square feet home, just being annoyed that one small Express 7 doesn't cover 2 or 3 floors. I think you have to be realistic. Yes, when I had an Express 7 sitting right here, it did give me coverage all the way down to the bottom of the house. But when you got to the bottom, performance wasn't great. So, once you go 1 or 2 floors down, you're obviously going to lose signal. And everyone's house is different, but that's just something to be aware of. And you saw that myself in my home, with the way I've got them positioned in the ground floor and the first floor, and I've got great coverage throughout the house now. But once I go into the garage, that signal does start to drop. And that's just, what's going to happen. But there is a solution to that. Buy more access points, and that's what I'm going to do. So please stay tuned for my next video about my access point situation, but I will give you a teaser because I've bought one of those access points already, and this is it here. This is the U7 Pro Outdoor. Now in North America this is tri-band, but here in the UK it's just a 2.4 and 5 gigahertz band, and this comes with antennas if you want it as well. So you can make this directional or omnidirectional, and I'm thinking this will be best placed in the garage, but I am thinking of doing up some testing and trying it in here, trying it in the living room, again just to get an idea of what this can do. But it's quite funny, it's quite a meaty Quite a big chunky little fella. And just to put that into perspective, this is the UTR. Look at the size difference, look at that. So yes, I'll be interested to see how this will extend coverage at the back of the house. It'll be interesting to see that. But with regards to the Express 7, these are access points that I can recommend. I think they're great little access points, and I think they're a great stepping stone into the world of UniFi access points. But one size does not fit all. I think everyone's needs are different, everyone's house is different, everyone's budget is different. So you really have to do the research yourself. But for me, the Express 7s were a great fit. Love the form factor, love the 2.5G and 10G ports at the back, and I love how simple they were to deploy. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this look at the Ubiquiti UniFi Express 7. Thanks for watching. If you've got any questions, please do post them down below. As always, if you've enjoyed, give it a thumbs up, give it a subscribe, and I'll speak to you all in the next one. Take care.